My shovel guitar headstock handle fix. I'm not sure if I'm the only one who has had this problem or if others out there have also run into it. This could be a problem of my making since I built
shovel guitars myself. Some background. During COVID, I bought a load of supplies to make cigar box guitars. I even bought two, $7 each at the time, Nextra Korean brand shovels at a local hardware store.
I made only a couple of diddly bows back then. This past January 1st, my New Year's resolution was to make 2 shovel guitars before the end of the month. The handles on my shovels
were not exactly like the ones I have seen on the shovel guitars sold on the market. Mine were PP, polypropylene, a versatile and lightweight plastic commonly used for shovel handles, particularly for snow shovels made of ABS. While makers of marketplace shovel guitars might use ABS, acrylonitrile butadiene styrene handles, ABS is less prone to warp than PP. How do I know my handles were made of PP? They float in water. The warping of my handles started in earnest with the coming of the summer heat. Not only did they warp sideways, but they also bent toward the necks of my shovel guitars. So, summer heat in a room without AC and the tension of my strings, tuning the shovel guitars to GDG, contributed to deforming the headstock handles.
Obviously, in these conditions, the SGs, shovel guitars, would not stay in tune for a whole song. My search for a solution was on. I needed to replace the handles. Searching for ABS shovel handles turns up the generic plastic handles. Among those, which would satisfy my needs to help create a stiff, warp-free headstock handle. It had to be a handle. Without the handle, the shovel guitar, in my mind, wouldn't deserve the shovel moniker. It would lose a major part of its character. Also, the handle makes it easy to carry, move from place to place, and swing at audience members attacking the stage.
The problem and my solution. My choice of handle and my handle build process. A. I cut a piece of coat hanger and shaped it to the side profile of my chosen handle to help make a shaping jig. To make a stiff, warp-free handle, I needed 2 1 1/8 inch thick by 3/4 inch wide by 8 inches long aluminum flat bar pieces, 1 stainless steel EMF8 by 120 millimeter hex head screw bolt with nut and flat and lock washers, 1 M5 by 50 millimeter screw bolt with nut and 2 washers. I had these with wing nuts. 1 24 millimeters, 15/16 inch diameter by 100 millimeters long wooden dowel piece. My old broom handle fits snug in the chosen handle hole.
B. I placed the straight length of the shape coat hanger piece along the straight edge of a scrap piece of plywood, traced the curve of the coat hanger piece onto the plywood, and then cut out the curve on the plywood with a jigsaw. C. Next, I drilled holes in the plywood for C-clamp and vice grip placement. After clamping the aluminum bar to the jig, I made an initial bend by hand toward the curve of the jig. D. Then, using 2 socket arm extensions held secure in a vise, I continued to make incremental bends in the bar and checked it against the jig. I used the vice grip again and the C-clamps to make the bend in the bar conform to the jig, along with some slight bend adjustments with the extensions in the vise. E. With the bars bent to the shape of the handle, I drilled through the 100 millimeter center length of the dowel using a drill press and a squared-off right-angle jig I made to help hold the dowel. Sorry, no pictures of that.
F. M8 holes. With the dowel inserted into the handle hole, I measured and marked the placement of the holes in the bars for the M8 by 120 millimeter bolts, and then used a drill press to drill those holes in the bars. G. After drilling the holes, I inserted the bolt through the bar on one side, the dowel, and the bar on the other side. After tightening the nut onto the flat and lock washers, I measured where the holes on the bars would go to match the cross-section holes of the handle. The M5 by 50 mm screw bolt will hold the handle onto the shovel shaft or shovel guitar neck. H. M5 holes. With the holes marked, I disassembled the bars and took them to the drill press to drill those holes. I. Big tuning peg holes on the bars. After reassembling the bars to the handle, I used the tuning pegs to mark where I wanted to place them on the bars. Note, you might choose to place them elsewhere on the bar. And after disassembling again, I took the bars back to the drill press to drill those holes. J. Big tuning peg handle holes. After reassembling the bars to the handle, I used a hand drill to drill the big tuning peg handle holes. K. Tuning peg winder notches on sides of the shovel handle. After drilling the big tuning peg handle holes and partially inserting the tuning pegs into the big holes on the bars, I marked where I had to make notches on the sides of the shovel handle. I used a tiny curved rasp to make these notches. L. Small tuning peg anchor holes on the bars. After making the notches, I set the tuning pegs in place in their big holes and marked where I had to drill the small tuning peg anchor holes on the bars. I disassembled the bars once more and took them to the drill press to drill small tuning peg anchor holes. M. Again, I reassembled the bars to the handle, including the M5 by 50 mm screw bolt with wing nut. Then I installed the tuning pegs on the headstock-handle.
N. I removed the M5 by 50 mm screw bolt and wing nut, temporarily installed it on the shovel shaft, and marked where the hole across the neck shaft goes. To help hand drill the 55 mm hole through the neck shaft above the nut, I made a simple jig out of scrap pieces of teak. Since this hole goes across the neck, I temporarily removed the nut. With 2 ratchet straps, I strapped the neck sideways onto a counter, leaving the shovel blade body hanging over the counter's edge. With the simple drill jig in place at the top of the neck, I drilled the cross-neck hole. Using the M5 by 50 mm screw bolt, washers, and wing nut, I installed the new headstock handle on the neck. O. With the new headstock handle installed, I drilled holes for eye bolts to guide the guitar strings from the nut to the tuning pegs. Finally, I restrung my shovel guitar. P. Thoughts on my build of the Headstock-Handle shovel guitar. I could have used tape on the vice jaws or on the aluminum bars themselves to protect their finish during most of the steps. After drilling all the holes, I crisscross sanded the bars with P400 wet or dry brand paper to brighten their appearance. Instead of making notches in the handle for the tuning peg winder arms, I could have tight-fit pieces of wood between the tuning peg mechanism and the bar for the tuning peg anchor screw. I considered that, but opted for anchoring the tuning peg mechanism to the small hole in the bar. I carefully drove the screw into the aluminum, without trying to seat it until I met resistance. This allowed the screw, designed for wood, to tap into the aluminum deep enough to prevent the tuning mechanism from twisting on the bar.
Some people might question my aesthetic use of hardware, the steel M8 by 120 mm hex head screw bolt with nut, flat and lock washers, and the M5 by 50 mm screw bolt with wing nut and 2 washers on my build. But hey, this is a shovel guitar, not an American Ultralux Vintage 60s Stratocaster HSS, nor a Gretsch Vintage Select Edition Chet Atkins Country hollow body guitar. It's a frickin' shovel guitar. Details of my shovel guitar builds. Final thoughts on building my shovel guitars if I were to do it again. If I were to build another shovel guitar again, I would carefully mark the required holes and note their sizes on the blade of the shovel. Then I would remove the shovel blade from its shaft or handle arm and take it to a machine shop and have them drill the holes for me. I did not remove the shovel blades from their shafts or handle arms, so it was a challenge to set them up on the drill press. The carbide drill bits needed to drill through the hardened steel of the shovel blades are expensive and require time and care when using them. I think investing in a skilled machinist's time would be worthwhile. Winding pickups requires care and patience. I wound my first two successfully, but I screwed up my third one by trying to go faster. I have to remind myself to take my time and handle the copper thread with great care. Having scuffed up the paint on the shovel blade while drilling the holes, I could have taken more time to do a cleaner paint job. The major blemishes on the back of the guitar body or blade where they don't matter. Thanks to the kindness of my friend and neighbor, I had the use of his workshop for the hardest parts of building my shovel guitars. Overall, it was a satisfying experience. Now with the new headstock handles, playing them will be even more enjoyable. To get a free PDF copy of my repair process with picture, use the link provided in the description of the video to download a copy.